Liking. Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to open us up with a word of prayer, and the Goths can be letting more people in as we go in case we have any others who are able to hop on tonight. But we know this is going to be a smaller group because this is Jims and Jules. So I'm looking forward to it. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time we have together tonight. Thank you for the leaders that are here tonight and for each of the journeys that you have us on and the things that you're teaching us through the hardships that we're facing. God, please refine us. Please sanctify us. Please discipline us as we seek to obey and as we seek to do good work. Watch over the time that we have tonight. This is really special time with Melody and with Sherry. And I just pray that you will gently reveal things to each of us here during this time that sets us free, just brings freedom and brings fruit in our businesses and in our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, so for the order of the evening, I wanted to start by sharing a few thoughts that I have been kind of just over things I've been studying this week. And then I want to kick it over to you, Megan, to share some of the thoughts you had on your mind today after watching Emily Gibson's team call. And I'm halfway through it, and it is blowing my mind in some really interesting ways. So I'm excited for you to share some of those. Not going to take a ton of time on this because we want to get right to our coaching. But my team has been working through John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership. It's amazing no matter how many times you study it. And last night I led our call over a couple of the laws. So wanted to share this with this group specifically, since we are leaders of large teams. This first quote is a Christina Williams quote, actually. She said, "We have to invest in raising our lid every time we hit it." And wow, that concept kind of blew my mind because I've understood the law of the lid. And when you reach your ceiling, that you then become the ceiling for everyone under you on your team. But it really hit home for me that we hit our lid. And if we are committed to engaging in the leadership process, then we raise our lid, but we raise it to some new point and we continue to grow until we hit it again. And so each and every time we hit it, we're faced with a decision. Do I stay right where I am? Do I run the other direction? Or do I invest whatever amount of effort and resources it takes to raise it again? And we just keep raising it. And that has certainly been true in my journey. I could pinpoint so many very specific times. And it kind of released some of the shame for me about hitting my lid, because if I'm doing this right, then I'm continually hitting my lid. So I loved that. Also wanted to read this quote. Now, this is from John Maxwell. He says, "Successes teach us valuable lessons and they give us confidence. But our failures often teach greater lessons. They reveal wrong assumptions, character flaws, errors in judgment, things that don't work. And ironically, people hate their failures so much that they resist analyzing them and learning from them. But failure is an amazing teacher." So, do you take the time to analyze what worked and what didn't, and why, and what could be tweaked? Think about the people you lead. If you have someone on your team that's consistently doing IPAs, consistently posting, consistently reaching out, and they're not enrolling people, do you just kind of halfway go, wonder what's going on there? Or do you actually analyze what is going on there? And what can we tweak? What about like with our silver development rate? Like, why does someone on your team or you have less than a 10% silver development rate? If for every 10 people you enroll, you're not helping at least one of them get their products covered and get to silver, why? What can be tweaked? What can be analyzed from the people who are out there doing it and doing it well? All of these things are overcomeable and the solutions are out there. So what can we do? And how can we create an environment that fosters other people growing from their mistakes? The first thing we have to do is we have to create an environment where mistakes are accepted as long as they're learned from. And I don't know about y'all, but I feel like these coachings have really helped with that for me, that they have created this very safe environment where we can be honest about our shortcomings and honest about our failures, and then dig together and learn from them. And we as leaders are responsible for creating an environment where that happens, where that's fostered, and where our people understand it is more than okay to fail. It is more than okay to fail, because failure is the path to success. It is the path. If we avoid failure, we avoid success. It is that simple. It is not something to be avoided. It is the path to success. So I want to hit that hard again, just having that high failure tolerance and learning from it, and creating the environment on your team where that is understood by everyone. Last thing I wanted to share that just really hit me hard. As leaders, this is from John Maxwell again. As leaders, you must retain faith that you will prevail in the end, and you must also confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. It is not an easy task to balance those two things, but it's a must. It is our path. That is the task of a leader, to see the facts realistically while having faith, while holding hope high, to balance optimism and balance realism. We have to minimize illusions in our life and in our business. And he acknowledged this is difficult. He also said most people have a bent toward one of those, toward either being like a brutal facts person or a faith person. And so he recommended that if you're a faith person, it is not hard for you to believe 100% that you will prevail in the end. He said, partner up with a facts person, because you probably need help facing the brutal realities of your current situation, and you need someone helping you do that. And likewise, if you're a facts person, then it's so easy to look at the facts and go, oh, there's just no way. And then all of your actions support that belief. And so if you're a facts person, you need a faith person that you're regularly touching base with. And he finished off that little section by saying, a leader understands that self-deception can cost you your vision. So we do not want to be people who live in self-deception. We want to be people who are hopeful and also living in reality. So this is all, that's all from chapters 3 and 4, 21 laws, because that's what our team is working on this week. Megan, can you share some of your things from Emily's call?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just about halfway in, so I didn't get the whole call listened to. I think Melody did, so she might have some more takeaways than me. But I guess what struck me was her quote. She said, "Your belief is either keeping you where you are or taking you where you want to be." And I put down that Proverbs 23 verse 7 echoes this, which is basically that scripture that says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." And so how much our success, or really anything in life, is really dictated by what's going on in between our ears. I mean, it's the same thing that we've been hearing over and over and over, but like sometimes Emily just talks such a mile a minute and just says stuff that could potentially kind of be offensive, but I was like, whoa, wow, it's true in a sense. And also I'm very intrigued with how clear she is on like where she got to how she got to where she is. And she basically just outlined getting to Emerald. I think I said this on another call, but getting to Emerald was pure chaos. Emerald to Sapphire was sip and seize, and then Sapphire to Diamond was the focus every single month on developing a new gold. So I just appreciated her awareness on that. But then the other part of her little belief statement, I might have it out of order a little bit, but I was trying to type as I was listening. She said, y'all aren't diamonds. You are all not diamonds because it's what you believe. I don't think I quoted that perfectly, but basically you're not diamond because it's what you believe. The how has already been given to you like 17 different ways. So I just thought that was really intriguing. I mean, kind of one of those things you sometimes have to chew on a little bit to be like, to process that through your own experience and what that looks like. But I do agree in the sense, because so much of this business is mindset and what we believe. And I was inspired because Emily herself was sharing that up until like a year ago, even last year at this time, she confessed that she has been dealing with different limiting beliefs. And she has been she's brought awareness, or she's been brought awareness to those limiting beliefs by, I think, some coaching that she's been doing. But she's like, one of the limiting beliefs was that you have to basically work and hustle so hard that the only way to be successful is basically to work yourself to burn out. And she's like, and that is truly, it's really not true. And she was just saying that basically she has worked less, yet her business has grown more, and she has made more money in her Plexus business, or her coaching business is something separate. But I just thought that was really insightful, because she was saying because her belief basically affected her outcome. And then the other belief that had been challenged, I think because of a couple girls on her team, was basically that you can't get to diamond without a team. She's literally said this multiple times, that you can get to senior gold by yourself, but basically anything beyond that takes a team. And which there is some truth to. It's more efficient, like you'll go faster, all those things. But she's like, and then she was featuring a couple of these girls who basically have single-handedly gone emerald. I don't know if one is beyond that or not, but she broke it down, and she's like, our compensation plan, which I think is also intriguing to note, that our compensation plan is unique in the sense that we don't have to develop like jewel legs in order to go diamond. We don't have to develop, so many silvers, so many golds, so many, like other compensation plans where you're constantly trying to balance these things and make sure people are ranking at certain levels in order to hit your next rank up. Like where it's very heavy on, you have to develop XYZ to XYZ. And she's like, so Plexus in a huge sense, she's like, I have scoured the compensation plan. You can get there single-handedly by level ones. And she had it quantified. So I just thought that was really intriguing. And that was some things that stuck out to me. I also wanted to just put a quick little update in here to just celebrate with us, because all of us, because we have been doing these coaching calls for 6 months. Carissa mentioned that to me the other day. And so I just think that is so awesome. We've been doing this since October. And Justin, do you feel like that it has grown you in certain ways, just the coaching piece? And
yeah, I think
learning?
anytime you coach or teach something, you learn probably more than the people you're supposed to be coaching or teaching. So, and we have such a great group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not really, I don't view it as coaching or teaching anything. I look at it more as just like learning from peers. There's so many people with so many gifts
Mm-hmm.
on these teams that, I mean, you can just get on and learn from anybody. Like, everybody's going through something, everybody's overcoming something, everybody's already made it farther than we probably thought we ever would, even with Plexus, or even in life. And so I think that these calls have been extremely beneficial, not just for Plexus business, but just, mm-hmm. I think just life. If you look at a lot of what we've covered over the last 6 months, very little of it has to do with Plexus business specifically. A lot of it has to do with life. A lot of it has to just do with life issues and just working through those issues that we all, stumble across sometimes. So it's been way more than I ever expected it to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So just a little reminder to all of us that are listening and learning together is, obviously Melody and Sherry are going to be in the hot seat, so to speak. But, we all see ourselves in some measure in whoever is sharing, and I think that it's good to be reminded that these calls have value, even if you're not necessarily the one that's either asking the questions or getting the questions asked to you. So it's something also to be reminding your teams about these Tuesday coachings, because there's so much value gleaned. And I kind of get the feeling that people are like, well, I'm not being coached, so I'm not gonna pop on. But we learn in these things. Like, it's kind of like mm-hmm. attending a Bible study or, going to worship. Like, there's value just by being in the room, so to speak. And so anyways, just want to pipe those things in. So Carissa, thank you for talking about that. Avoiding failure means avoiding success. And also the analytical piece of what we do. I think it's very important to be aware. These coaching sessions bring awareness and also help us to self-analyze even more, or be better question askers even to ourselves, so that we can go to the next level or whatever, overcome some stuff.
Just one quick thing about failing. I love that if we avoid failure, we avoid success. And that was really profound, because anybody you listen to that's done anything of significance has all of them have failed. They've all failed their way to success. Like, nobody has got to the top of anything without some level of failure. And I was listening to a guy earlier this week. I don't know, it's still early this week? Maybe it was last week. I don't remember, but I was listening to a guy, and he was talking about failing. And this guy was at the top of his field. And he said, I failed over and over and over again. I wasn't just this perfect Superman that just went to the top. I failed over and over again. He said, but one thing I learned is, don't spend too much time failing. You're going to fail, but don't stay there very long. Learn, adjust, and get back to work. Like, don't spend too much time in the failure. And I thought that was profound too. So whatever the failure you might experience or be experiencing, if at all, just don't spend too much time there. Okay, so you failed.
Yeah.
Welcome to humanity, right? So it's like, okay, learn the lesson, move, adjust, make your adjustment, try it again. Just like Wile E. Coyote, my favorite cartoon character in all of cartoon history. He just never quit. Adjust, move on, next plan, see what happens, and so that's what we need to do.
Yes. So good. All right. So Melody, thank you for being coached. I know that it's been, I agree, Megan, 6 months. When I counted back, I thought it feels like, a month, like it's flown. So Melody, I know you've been with us for all 6 months, and you're just now getting your turn. So we're thankful that you're getting your turn. And if you could unmute and share with the group kind of the state of your Plexus business right now. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, sure thing. So I went Emerald in June of 2020. And basically since then, I have held 1,300 to 1,450. There's been a handful of months that we've hit 1,500 again. And I want to say that I'm really, really grateful, because I know that, sometimes you hit a rank and then there's a dip after that. And we went down a little bit, but for the most part, we've maintained, and I'm grateful for that. It's just not Emerald, but so I am grateful.
That's amazing.
So anyway, points wise, that's where we are at. I have a small handful of senior golds that are working very diligently, and then a few more golds, and then a lot of new people. And so, every month it's kind of a different mixture of who's serious and who's really working, and who's maybe kind of stepped back a tiny bit, But for the most part, I have a really, really sweet group of ladies, and I'm thankful for them. We have a great community. We talk a lot in our threads. So I love that aspect of this. So I'm trying to think what else I should mention. That's kind of a big picture.
Are there things since that time? So gosh, I can't believe that's been almost 2 years ago, because June 2020 feels much more recent than that. But it's been almost 2 years ago. But in that time, have there been times where you felt like you implemented something that was moving the needle? I know that sometimes it can feel like that the points are not reflecting that you actually are growing. Like, you're growing your people, you are growing, but your points are, keep on arriving right at that same place. But are there some things like that you feel like I've implemented this and it moved the needle and it was helping us grow?
Yeah, so definitely Facebook health events, like short 30-minute parties, if you will. Those have definitely been very effective for us. The messenger events have as well. And I know that, like, for example, the month that we went Emerald, the month prior, we had done 1 million in one of those. And then we continued that into the month that we hit Emerald. And so I think that, so we've been trying to duplicate that ever since, or maybe replicate is better, but we've been trying to, but like you said, and it's okay, because sometimes there's people that have stepped back. I've had some people leave since that. I mean, there's just been so much, coming and going. So,
Yeah.
but yes, yeah, definitely those events for sure.
Okay. Very, very good. And can you think of anything else that, that you feel like you as a leader have like taken responsibility for implementing, to bring about that growth and that has worked or gone well? Events is huge. I agree.
Yeah, I know that whenever I am much more present in my threads and on our community page on Facebook, like doing lives, for example, sharing a tip or this or that, people are very, very much more responsive. I'm so sorry. Hang on one second.
Pause if needed. We get it. Oh, I love that Big Brother is bringing baby. Oh.
Sorry, guys.
You get
She's
it.
kind of been a little fussy tonight. We're like, okay. But yes, I know that, Crystal, whenever I show up and I literally show my face more, my team is very responsive to that. I don't know what that is exactly, but there's just an element where I've told Megan, like, I know I need to do that more. And when I do that, what was the other thing? Oh, and then when I put out little challenges, like, okay, this week, every day, we're going to pop in the thread when we've done 10 messages or, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And that's been really effective. So.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And just so that you feel the solidarity, that I know what that is like. And I hope a lot of the people on the call do. And just to give a word of encouragement to everybody that, staying engaged in the process is what a leader does. And when the windfall comes is when you see the fruit of all of that process that you have stayed engaged in. And so we're gonna believe for that. Question popped to my mind. So you said that you have a really sweet team. You have some good working senior goals and some new people that's where you are pouring your energy and effort into as a leader, and that you have a sweet culture among you. Is it hard for you to challenge and hold them accountable?
Yes. That is so hard. I don't like anything that feels confrontational. I just want to have fun together. And I know that is a weakness for sure.
Okay. Yes.
I will say though that I'm very grateful for the training in the past couple of years, even with this coaching, but just a lot of different Plexus videos, I feel like have kept saying that. Like, if you do not hold people accountable, that's your fault as the leader in some sense.
Yeah.
Like there's an element there that you are responsible. And so I will say it's getting easier to have some of the hard conversations like, hey, remember this goal. Let's chat about that. Where are you at with that? I feel like I'm growing some in that area, but oh boy, yes, that's a weakness for sure.
Yes. Okay, well, good. It sounds like you've dived into training on that for sure. It brought a quote to my mind that I'll go ahead and read you because I read this to my team last night. But it struck me as recent as yesterday. So I'm always learning something every day. So this is from Brittany Howard. She said, if someone is entrusting me with their $100, I want to lead them to the results they want with their health. If someone is trusting me enough to put themselves out there and lay their reputation on the line to make a change in their finances, I want to steward that well. I take that very seriously, and so should you. And it was great. It was great to hear that, because I thought it puts into perspective those sweet people that we work with. And when they said, I mean, especially this month, I feel like it's never been easier to refine ourselves as leaders, because when someone on my team this month has said, I want to go senior gold, I want to go ruby. And when they're saying that, they don't just mean they want $350. They mean it's $700 is on the line. If they want to go ruby, $1,000 is on the line. And something about raising those stakes has been very effective for me as a leader to go, I'm not going to shy away from checking in to see where they are toward their goal and figure out what is hanging them up. And I'm not always very good at navigating people through that. So I'm learning a lot from Emily Gibson right now, because she's really good at navigating people through that. And I know Megan and I both have just been like devouring every Emily call as it comes up. She's really good at navigating people through that and what those hangups are. But this month really helps with that, because when my people say, I want to go senior gold, and they're not on track toward their goal, I don't feel like I'm coming back and going, well, why are you such a failure? I don't know. I'd be curious to know, because this is just me, but I'd be curious to know, what is it for you that feels so uncomfortable when it comes to challenging people or offering tough love? You said confrontation. You don't like confrontation. But can you go a little deeper? What about it is so uncomfortable?
What about confrontation is so uncomfortable?
Well, not generic confrontation, not just generic confrontation, but what about the challenging those workers that you have that really great friendship with?
Right. Okay. I will say that sometimes I feel like I'm going to be pushy. If I have a worker that tells me they want something and then I remind them, or I don't remind them, but you know what I mean, that I check in and say, okay, how's that going? You know, what are your thoughts with that? Or how are those steps going this month towards that goal? You know, when I ask that, I guess I'm afraid sometimes that they'll feel I'm pushy. I don't want to be pushy, and I don't want something for someone if they don't want it. And perhaps maybe some of it too is just I have a lot of people that are very happy with a little bit. And that's okay, because I think a lot of us in general are going to have a lot of people like that, because I don't know, people are busy for whatever reason. And sometimes I feel like it's hard to know the difference between someone like that and someone that really is all in, because a lot of people say they're all in, but they really don't do a whole lot. So I guess I'm not wanting to make the assumption that, yeah, I don't know. It's probably just fear of man. That's probably the bottom line.
Yeah. I mean, that's some of it, but I'm also hearing a little bit of scarcity, because you're kind of defaulting to, maybe they only want a little bit. And I wouldn't want to come in and assume they want more. And that's what I'm hearing from you. Yeah. And I would tend to assume the opposite. I would tend to assume maybe they want more and they just don't know it yet. And what kind of a leader would I be if I default to, well, they only want a little bit. They only need a little bit. I would never want to push them to want more. So yeah, maybe a little fear of man, maybe a little confrontation, but I also think maybe a little scarcity. And so often I think people need you to see for them what they can't see yet for themselves. And maybe they do only want a little bit, but there's probably a reason if they say, I don't need, $1,000 a month. I'm fine with $600. If they're saying things like that, well, there might be some fear going on with them that's keeping them in that place. And so,
really good. Thank you.
Yeah, and so I think that you have a calling a little bit to open their mind up to what life could be like if they shared to want more. And I'm curious, well, first of all, it's interesting because you're kind of assuming that on the whole, they just want a little bit. But for those that actually do want just a little bit, they don't really want a whole lot. It's important for you to dig in with them and find out what problem do they have with wanting more? Like what hang up do they have mentally or spiritually or whatever with wanting more?
Sure.
And you can be the one to go there with them.
That's really helpful. I was listening. Was it on the Emily Gibson call today? I can't remember if it was or if it was a different call, a different training, but they said something about they used to have a scarcity of mindset around money, like money was hard. And when they said that, I just immediately thought to myself, I know that I have a scarcity around points. Like I always feel like I'm never bringing in enough points, or, that I know I have a scarcity around that. So I never even thought about when I'm talking with my people that would reflect then in what I'm basically assuming they want, like you said.
Yeah.
And having a scarcity around that. So, wow, thank you. That's really helpful.
Good.
I think, I guess part of it maybe is just my personality of not wanting to push someone to something that they don't want. But like, as soon as I say that, I hear what you're saying, because it's like, wow, it's more, I need to cast a vision and let them decide, and not kind of me decide for them.
Yes. I mean, that's so powerful, because how many people out there that are like sitting in, a squalor situation with their health, telling us that they don't want to try plexus. Mm-hmm. And so if we were to see every one of those people and go, oh, well, I don't want to force anything on you that you don't want, but you kind of do. No, you don't want to be pushy, and no, you don't want to be forceful, but you definitely do want something for them that they don't yet want for themselves. And that's okay. Like, that's good. It's good that you as their leader want something for them that they have not given themselves permission to want. And it's your role to find out why. Why haven't they given themselves permission to want that? And there's all sorts of reasons, and it's different with everybody. So you're going to be deciphering who are the ones that actually really do only want a little bit, who are the ones I've just been assuming that for, and then with the ones that only want a little bit, what's the reason they haven't given themselves permission to want more, believe for more, hope for more, work for more. But this month especially, I think, now, I mean, I just don't think this is your heart. Yes, there are those of us who are pushing for a rank or pushing for a re-rank bonus. And so, yes, I guess that could be a motivation for touching base with all your people and saying, okay, come on, get to your goal. But that's not your heart. That's not my heart. I genuinely am like, okay, 9 people to fast start senior silver and you earn over $1,000. I want this so bad for you. Like, I really, really do. And I don't see that as pushy or forceful. I see it as love. I see it as belief. I'm going to read your comment, Megan. Getting clarity so we know how to vision cast for peeps, and asking instead of assuming. I'm totally. Yeah. I mean, I just think we all assume, all the time. Okay, Melody, what would you say, maybe we've touched on it, but what would you say is the most persistent thought that brings a state of stress or anxiety or overwhelm or just frustration with your plexus business? Is there something that you think often? Well, you said one. You said, I don't ever seem to bring in enough points. Points are hard.
I think that probably would be kind of where I'm at.
That's the most common one.
I think so.
So in your daily routine, do you have a good daily routine with your business right now?
I do now, finally. I took a break for a little while in January it was February. Anyway, and by March, then I got things rolling again. And then this month, I feel like even better, tweaking a few things. I have a VA doing some things for me. And then I also hired a business coach because I'm like, I know I have, as we're chatting about things tonight, even I know it's my mindset holding me back. It's not really practical things so much. I mean, always more to learn. But anyway, so I've been doing those things. And yeah, I feel like the daily routine is finally better again as of March, late February. So
okay, very, very good. Okay, so in your daily routine, like when you sit down to work, do you sit down and feel energized? Do you sit down and feel discouraged? I mean, is it different every day?
Gotcha. I mean, it's, for the most part, I love it. I really love checking with my team. So I kind of make myself do the things I don't enjoy as much, like the new reach outs, things like that.
Yeah.
So that I can do the things I like better.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I feel like that goes well. That the only times more so where I feel the stress is checking points. And especially like on the 28th, when those subs have run and, you're kind of like, okay, this is where I'm ending up. Like, okay.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard.
Okay.
But yet I'm trying to look at it as opportunity. That's what Brooke Hemingway says, right? Your back office is a place of opportunity.
Yes. Oh, I hear everything I was saying earlier. It's like holding that hope and facing the brutal realities.
Yes.
It is our path. So with your new people and your senior goals that you love to check in with that are just so life-giving to you, are a lot of them level ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty much all of them are either level 1s or 2s. So
Okay.
for the most
Way to go. That's awesome. That's so good. So then your task, because I'm in a different boat, I feel like with the people that I'm really loving to work with right now, when I look through it, I'm like, oh, there are not many level 1s anymore in this list. So my task is I'm trying to go out and get new level 1 business builders.
Yeah.
But your task, it sounds like, is to deepen your team, to help all of these business builders find business builders.
Yes.
So have you dived into how to find business trainings on how to find business builders and how to turn people into business builders? And are you taking responsibility for creating opportunity for your team to learn and grow that skill?
First question, yes. Second question, I think that might be where I'm lacking. So we do like a monthly Zoom. We talk a lot in threads, and I've been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching with these runners. And that's something we talk about a lot. Like, we're working hard to post more about the business and talk more about the business. And so there is conversation there, like about what you're saying. But yet the way you said it, like, are you making an opportunity for them to really learn and dig into that? I feel like I don't know. Not sure.
Well, it sounds like you're doing some things. Yeah, it sounds like you're
Doing some things
to post about the business, and you're talking about how to appeal to business builders and how to, I guess, probably how to reach out to them effectively. You also said earlier that, doing little mini challenges together is effective right now. It's working right now. And so Sherry, I'll go next. She and I, this month, we partnered up and we kind of watched this training from April Resch. And for us, the need that we saw was our team was struggling with low influence, had worn out their warm market, and was really needing to learn how to warm up cold markets. And so we found this video from April where she trained on this. And we broke it down into a checklist, and then we turned that into a challenge, and we did it in a thread for a week.
That's
and
so
it was
cool.
really fun. And so I'm thinking maybe for you, like I have a tab pulled up that I haven't watched yet, but it's Brittany Howard, and the video is like how to create business builders. And so maybe you can pull up a training like that from a really respected diamond, and you can analyze it and break it down and then turn it into a challenge and do it with your team so that you can help them develop that skill. And it sounds like you're doing that, but just to take it to the next level.
Okay. Is that April Ann? Is that what she goes by
on Facebook? Yeah.
I just found her YouTube and was listening to her the other day, like a bunch of them. That's too funny.
Yeah. Well, she on the Jewel page,
do that.
she had talked about how cold messaging was her best friend, and I was like, hello, I don't know very many people that say that. So so I watched her video and I thought, okay, this is a skill, with a lot of my new people too, like a lot of new people who are slow to start. It's because of a small circle and a small network or a small amount of influence. And so I thought, this is something I need to make bite-sized. I need to make it digestible, and I need to make it into, I just need to make it more accessible, because people can watch a video and still not turn around and know how to take a baby step with that information. So that's just an example, but I feel like you can take this task of how do I teach my team to recruit business builders or to convert customers into business builders, and just take it to the next level by taking those good trainings and turning it into more of a challenge, especially since challenges are going really well for you right now. Another, before I kick it over to Megan and Justin and Sherry, you probably already do this, but if you haven't gone to like Sally Lewis's trainings very much, and of course Jordan Roddenberry, who I'm sure we all watch a ton, but they were at Emerald a long time, multiple years, and they were raising their lid, and they were getting systems in place, and they were learning and growing that whole entire time, even though it was not reflecting in the points. But all this growth was taking place. And then when their momentum came, they went sapphire, diamond, re-entry in a matter of like 4 or 5 consecutive months. It was like all that work they had been doing was showing up in that time. And it was the fruit, it's like you couldn't see the fruit, but then all of a sudden you could really see the fruit. So those would be some other resources I would check out.
Right. Thank you so much. That is really helpful.
Well, thank you for sharing. All right, Megan and Justin, are you guys ready?
Yep, ready. Sorry, you mentioning something triggered a funny memory for Justin.
Oh my.
Anyways.
No, you mentioned Jordan Roddenberry. She commented on a post on Jewels of Excellence today, and it just really, really made me laugh. So anyway,
tell us
about Jewels. What?
Well, I want to know. Tell us.
No, she just said bless. Like they were talking about a girl who left Plexus and went to go to a company, and then she left that company just a few days ago and went to Q Science. And it's a girl that everybody knows, and Jordan's her response was just bless. Like, bless her.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was hilarious. So, moving on.
Anyway, sorry.
Enough of me.
Distracting.
Enough about me.
Up. Yes. Okay. Sherry, it was great. It's great to see you again. Tell us how things are going.
Things are going. I think last time I was on, I'm so happy to get to do it again. I feel special.
Yeah.
Last time I was on, I was just kind of getting back into things after being consistently inconsistent for years. Mm-hmm. And I'm still working on that, but I have been working and trying to dive back in and doing, I did the challenge with Carissa this month, and I've really noticed lately that challenges are kind of where I can get in and do the things, and then it's as soon as the challenge is over, I have to fight hard against my natural instinct to just be okay, I'm done. And I've been doing that with my health, I've been doing that with my business, and I've been lately being okay, so what does that mean about me? I feel like I shouldn't have to have a challenge to do what I know I need to do to get the results I want in every area of my life. But that's kind of where I've been at. And I'm just okay, I guess I'm going to keep doing challenges until I figure this out. That's where I'm at with that. And then I've been fighting the like realizing, listening to everything I've listened to lately has kind of pointed out to me, and just like the past couple of weeks as I've been like adding a couple people to my team, helping people add people, and then just fighting like that belief in myself that I actually am capable of this. And listening to one of the calls I listened to today, that became like, that was like super clear. Like, I don't know that I can, that I believe I'm in this. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm never going to quit. And like, there's a part of me that's like, someday, maybe, it's not a belief. It's someday, maybe I'll make it somewhere, but that's not gonna, like, maybe I'll be diamond. Maybe I'll make it past senior ruby. Like, that belief isn't there. And I don't know how to do it.
Mm. So one question is, do you want to go beyond senior ruby?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
Well, that's good. Well, and you know what? I think that one of the things that I realized is that this business takes faith, not necessarily faith in God. I mean, obviously that's beneficial, but the ability to see something before it happens. And who was I listening to? I think it was Robin Sullivan at Gold School. She said that she had such strong belief that she would have a group of 30 people working with her. And she's like, I just had that in my mind. 30 workers. Who are they? Where are they? When are they going to show up? And so I was just really inspired by her saying that, because I think that she's been in Plexus for like 10 years or so. Like, her journey has been a long, drawn out thing. And she retired from her principal position when she was gold, which I think is really interesting and that was a very full of faith decision that she made. But how her belief in seeing her future team, right? And like Carissa was saying, a lot of these people, what is that? The Atomic Habits guy talks about it like that. Something of latent success, or that like basically there's nothing looks like it's happening right on the surface, but like underneath there's all this stuff going on that you don't see fruit from, and then all of a sudden it's like this, the curve on the graph just skyrockets because all of that consistency compounds, right? And so anyways, I'm glad that you have the awareness of recognizing just finding the belief thing, and also recognizing that you're an achiever type. So if someone puts out a challenge, you're gung-ho to go check off all the boxes and make it happen. And then after the challenge is over, you're like, well, now what? Almost creating a self-created challenge for yourself, if that's something that's helpful. Do you work well off of checklists, even if you create them?
Yeah, I typically do. And something that was like popping up when you were saying that was, I will do the things that I like. It's almost like if they're easy for me, like if I know I can accomplish something from it. Maybe I didn't like that you called me an achiever. I don't know why.
I mean, if Melissa puts out a challenge, how come you go do that? But then if you don't have that, you don't necessarily go take the action.
Yeah. And a lot of the time it's challenge. I will do other people's challenges, but if I make the challenge, I'm like definitely in it.
Okay. Interesting. The belief thing, I'm curious where that is stemming from, because our belief is going to completely dictate our outcome. And so I'm curious if you can see any roots of what that might be intertwined with, or if it's just a matter of you can't see how you would go emerald with the current team that you have because of the action they're taking, or not the action, or maybe the specific people that make up your team currently.
And maybe that is part of it, like not being able to see, because I mean, I don't have the people that are going to help me get there yet. So maybe that's part of it, not being able to like picture them.
Yeah. That's interesting. Let's go back to the challenge thing. So recognizing these things about yourself is good, but then my brain always is like, okay, well, what's the solution? Or how do we shift currently, like what we're doing or where we're currently at in our mind, and shift it to get different results?
So like, is being that way and needing challenges bad or wrong, or like, is that just like, I can just function that way and maybe someday I'll grow and pivot?
Well, I think that if recognizing that you're like a challenge driven person, I think that's good, because that's how you operate.
What is a challenge? We're talking about challenge, but what is that exactly? Is that a goal? Is that a prize? Is that a short-term thing? Is that could be a long-term thing too for you? Or what is a challenge to you?
I guess a challenge in my mind is, just any specific amount of time. And like, I did 75 hard. I run like 21-day challenge groups for like healthy habits for people outside of Plexus.
Mm-hmm.
And that keeps me on track for that area of my life. And then, so I guess just anything that has a checklist. So I do like checklists. I like to be able to check the lists, check the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's not super, there's no like major goal that I'm working towards. Just that I have the task to do. I know it's going to get me, I guess there are goals closer to where I want to be with my health and my business.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things.
Do you feel like you have a good baseline of like kind of like what homeostasis looks like for you, like kind of your basic IPA, and then there's just sometimes where you like do a challenge, and so you're increasing your daily work activity, and then after the challenge you go back to homeostasis? Or is it basically like, I'm not really doing anything, and then challenge, I'll decide to work out for 21 days, or there's a challenge and there's a fun prize, okay, I'll tap in and do this massive list for 21 days. So just curious if you're like daily consistent regardless, and then I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And a lot of the time when a challenge comes up, I've been doing next to nothing. I'll do the things, then go back to next to nothing. And then whenever I don't have a challenge, I then try and figure out, okay, this is where I'm at in my life. This is my baseline. These are the things I'm going to do. And then I stick to them for like a week and a half and then derail.
Okay, yeah. I think I have a couple of ideas. So a leadership lid for you may be the law of navigation and leading yourself. And this is one thing that I see a lot of people struggle with, is the mindset, kind of like the difference between like an employee mindset versus an employer, or a CEO mindset versus just tell me what to do and I'll go do it. So it takes more thinking space, and it takes more analyzing. So you're going to sit down tomorrow to work, and what do I need to do? So that might be a leadership lid that you need to explore, or go back and read is that in the 21 Laws, or one of the books, John Maxwell books, about the law of navigation and leading yourself, so that on any given day or week, you as the CEO and like the pilot of your plane is that you're navigating the path. And so it's like, well, what are the top 5 priorities in my business this week? What is the hit list? Or so where you're not depending on Carissa to create, or whoever else to create that list for you, which it's easier for sure if we can just get a list and do the list that someone tells us to do, versus sitting back in our little quiet space thinking, what does my team need this week? Who needs encouraged? Who can I be a sparkler to? How many people have I recruited this month? What is my goal? Am I clear on where I'm going and why? I don't know. Those are some of the things. I think that, well, what is that one? There's like the levels of leadership where it talks about like your level 2 leader or your level 5 leader or whatever. And this is the other thing that came to mind when you were talking also, is that I think that we are magnetic in the sense that if we want to attract more to us, I think that we have to be functioning at a higher energy level, a higher leadership level in order to attract those people to us. And it's not just you, but just in general, the inconsistency of whatever it is in our life, like we're inconsistent with our exercise, or we're inconsistent with our eating habits, or we're inconsistent with our business. I think that's the biggest what's the word, like weakness that we can have in our business, because the inconsistency can then lead to feel like the whole feelings thing, and then the whole mindset going down the tubes. But when we're consistent, even at just like a simple little homeostasis level, it builds confidence. And when we are consistent in that compounding, then we're going to see little tiny wins that are going to build up and up and up and up, and translate into actually massive success over time. So by getting back to kind of like the root of like why why is it like that for you? Do you have some thoughts? Okay. Why don't you talk or ask questions?
Yeah, I have a few thoughts. One, after you're done with a challenge, so you rise up to the challenge, you step up to the plate, and you knock it out, you make it happen. When you're done, because you mentioned you do like almost next to nothing, and then you'll work towards a challenge for like a week and a half, then back to next to nothing. So like after that week and a half, are you exhausted or burnt out from working towards the challenge? I'm just curious.
I was thinking about that, like trying to decide if I'm actually exhausted, like, or if I just tell myself I am and like go into lazy mode. I think Carissa mentioned that on our call last night. Maybe it was last night. But like, are you really needing rest, or are you just being lazy? And I'm honestly not sure whenever it comes to those.
I don't think you're a lazy person. There's a lot of lazy people in Plexus, and I don't think you're one. You did 75 hard. Okay, so like you're not lazy. So I think I know what it is, because I'm wired the same way. You get bored. Like for me, I need a burning building. Give me a burning building and something exciting. Give me a battle to fight. And I'm down. But if we're talking about just like meetings and IPAs, like just choke me out. Okay, because it's just boring. It's not exciting. It's not challenging. Like I need the danger or the excitement of something new, a new hill to climb, right? Does that sound a little bit like you?
It does. Yeah. Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So like routine.
So that I create.
Go ahead.
I think it's almost to the point in some areas of my life where I create disasters to put out the fire, which
it's fun.
I'm like, why would someone do that? And then I'm like, why? I did that.
Yeah.
I created.
Yeah, we're weird. We like challenges. I think I'm the same way as you. I get bored easily. Like routine to me is just a long version of the word rut. Like that's just, for me, routine has been throughout the past very boring to me, and so anyway, so it's, I don't think it's wrong, but how do you navigate that? Like, what is the challenge in light of, if you're wired that way, then what is the challenge? Because we can't always find a burning building to run into, right? We can't always be Batman, right? So how do we harness that? Well, I think the thing is, the challenge, I think, for people that are wired like us is we need to find the challenge in consistency. We need to be consistent, and it's hard, but we just have to, as we used to say in the Army, we have to embrace the suck of consistency. It's just, and it's hard for people like us, but the excitement that we're actually seeking in this new exciting challenge and all that stuff is honestly found at the end of consistency, I've learned. So we're looking for the new exciting thing to achieve something. It's actually found when we're consistent. It's not found in the next new thing. You know, and that was the next challenge. That still is the new challenge for me, is to be consistent. That is the new challenge. Of course, I can drop something and go find something new. That's easy to do. That's what maybe a 20-year-old or 30-year-old Justin would do. But like 45, almost 46-year-old Justin, I need to find my excitement in being consistent and to get it done quickly. If it's something it does for me, be consistent, get it done fast, and just move on to the next exciting thing, whatever that is. But the challenge is consistency for people like us. And another thing, let's see, it's nearly, and I think this has everything to do with the lack of belief. I look at belief as the same thing I look at as confidence. Belief, confidence, kind of the same thing. It's nearly impossible to have belief or confidence apart from consistency. It's just nearly impossible. What consistency breeds confidence. When we're consistent, we show up, we put in the work, we do the things. It just breeds confidence in us. So I think the excitement, and like I said, the victories that we're looking for are found at the end of consistency. And that's maybe that is a new leadership, maybe a new leadership challenge for you and for me, and anybody else who's, you know, gets excited about the new exciting new challenge, right? And so that's just something I'm still learning. I don't have all that figured out. And some days I do good, and then some days I don't. And I fail the day in my consistency. But like I mentioned earlier, don't spend too much time failing. Just, okay, I wasn't consistent in that area today. Learn, and then keep moving forward. So I don't know if any of those ramblings connect with you at all, but hopefully they do.
They definitely did. Yes. A lot of, I mean, it's almost like I've been avoiding consistency because it seems like there should be another way. Like it should be like more exciting and fun, and you know, I'm sure I'll find it one of these days, but you told me I won't until I'm consistent. It's like one of those things you hear and you need to hear again. And whenever you mentioned don't spend too much time failing, like that hit home too, because I was like, I like to sit in that sometimes, and
yep, feels good to wallow in our misery sometimes, but doesn't get us anywhere.
Feels miserable.
Doesn't get us where we're wanting to go. So
I think it's really interesting how we all have our natural bents in this business or in life or however God wired us, but how as we're being sanctified on the journey through life and with the Lord and all of that.
Did they freeze or did I?
Whoops.
We lost Megan and Justin for a second.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm curious if it'll come.
Can you guys hear us? Did it work? Are we back?
we good?
Mm.
Send me off.